Hello, I'm Jane Wymark, and I'm a guest at the Festival of Fantastic Films in Manchester because I played the lead in a television drama called Baby, which was part of a series, Beasts, written by Nigel Neal, which has become something of a horror classic, which is very exciting for me. So I'm here as a guest, and I'm now going to answer a few random questions as provided for me. So here we go. Question 1, Star Wars or Star Trek? Oh my God, I start with a really difficult question. Can I say both? I mean, I think they're both great. I think both of them kind of have their moments when they're not so good for a while, but it's amazing how they do manage to reinvent themselves. But yeah, I mean, I remember the first Star Wars. Wow, that was a thing. I worked actually on stage with the guy that played C-3PO. And he sort of loved it and hated it, you know. As an actor, it had its downsides. Okay, so question 2. Who would make up your ideal dinner party guests if you could have anyone living or dead? Right. Well, we are at a festival of fantastic films, so we need somebody from the genre. And I think for me it might be, although I'm not sure he'd be a great dinner party guest, M.R. James. I loved the stories of M.R. James from my teenage years onwards. I thought he was an absolute genius, so it would be fantastic to meet him. I need to have Shakespeare there because he's been a huge influence on my life, and the work I mainly do now is facilitating Shakespeare studies. So, yeah, I mean, the chance to meet Shakespeare would be quite something. I'd really like to meet Elizabeth Lutyens. She's the composer who did the score for both, I think, The Skull and The Psychopath, that films that my father were in, directed by Freddie Francis. So she might be fun. And then I think a few of the guys that I've been meeting over this weekend. I've had a really lovely time. Okay. Question 3. What would you consider your big break? When, who with, doing what? That is an interesting one, isn't it? Well, in a way, you'd have to say Baby, wouldn't you? I mean, it was only the second or third telly I ever did. So, yeah, it was the beginning of my career, and it was a very useful thing to have done, and seemingly it still is. So, okay, I'm going to say Beasts, Baby. Question 4. Do you have a favourite book? Oh, I have so many favourite books. I'm a big Stephen King fan. I've read all of his books, I think, at least once. What is my absolute top, Steve? I'm just thinking because I'm at, a fantasy films thing. So Stephen King fits the bill. Probably The Stand. I'd go with. Yeah. Okay, so is this the last one, I think? Is this my last question? Which movie or TV series would you have most liked to have worked on, and why? I spent 14 years in a television series, Midsummer Murders, playing the nicest person in the world. And it's quite hard being the nicest person in the world. It's not the world's easiest gig, paradoxically, although I did have a lovely time. It was great. But I'd love to play somebody really evil. I'd like to be an evil witch in a movie. Yeah, I'd like to have been Angelica Houston in The Witches. I think that would have been so much fun.